Alright, so it's following day. Started working on the straight out Copart car. So took off the front bumper right here so that I could kind of position the oil cooler once again. And also took off the undercover, which is a great way to protect anything. And also if you're like tracking, not that I have any leakage, it's good to have so that you don't actually ruin the track for other people. So anyway, I drained the oil too. Oil was decent, not too dirty, and started working on the sandwich plate right here. So once again, this is bought off of eBay, and when you get this, I think this was like 15 bucks or whatever. It will come with the two different bolts, I would say. That's pretty much the universal. So basically go with ones that will fit on your thread. For my case, this thing fit, and I'm also installing the oil temperature sensor, which haven't been installed for like a couple of years. So I'm gonna just plug it in. I don't know if I'm gonna wire them and connect them to my Defi gauges, but I'll just use them, put it in there while at it, and I'll just plug this one here. And I'm just using a slight seal in here just in case that has an oil resistant, so that there's no like leak or anything. I'm just gonna position it where the way I want it and run the oil cooler and start working on the braided lines. Alright, so I was in the middle of making my braided line for the oil cooler. I already made one for one side. This is actually the longer side. There's a 90 coming from the sandwich plate to the cooler. I don't have the cooler here, but I'm just guessing so that I don't waste no time. The way I actually cut these lines, it's kind of funny, but if you just use a chop saw, it will actually cut clean, really clean. So what you want to do is, right now I don't have the electrical tape in the shop, but you need some tape to just hold the the fabrics around so that it doesn't like spread out so much. As you can see, it's spread out a little bit too, but you could just cut this off. But see how clean it could cut. People laughed at it at first, but this is actually the easiest way to do it and also the cleanest way. I'll show you how it came with, because I noticed on the other side how they cut it was actually messier than this method. I mean, not as bad, but you can see like the fabric and everything. You see, use one of these guys to cut it. It doesn't cut clean at all, and over time it'll actually cut worse and worse. But I really find that just cutting with the chop saw actually does the job the best, and it's been giving us no problems. But only thing is, since you're cutting the material off, you gotta make sure you shut the air after you cut it. This is all from the previous hose. So I'm just gonna go ahead and find out the length for this one and show you guys how you actually make the hoses like this. It's really nice and clean. Just have one complaint about this fitting here, the dash 10. This is not the dash 10 size, so I have a special tool so I don't make much of a scratch, but that thing is actually slightly bigger than what I usually use. So this special tool doesn't work. So I could only use the adjustable wrench, and it makes it a little bit of scratch. So that's what sucks about it. Usually if you go with like other brands, they're about dash 10 size, so that wrench fits right on. Alright, so what you do is you make sure that you have the correct length. It's always nice to have a little bit more length than shorter, so you gotta redo everything. So basically this is the route I'm gonna be doing, and you gotta actually kind of lengthen it, just looking at it where you position the first fitting, and basically see where the line's gonna go. I might go underneath of this pipe later, and basically just look at where it's gonna go. And also, like I said, you gotta tape it around so you don't spread out those fibers. So I'll just tape it around, go for the right in the middle. There we have it. Once again, nice and clean cut. I just gotta trim this off. Before anything, just some air inside so I take all the debris out. These Vibrant Performance fittings and other Dash 10 fittings or any AM fittings will have the bottom piece here and then have this thing screwed in. So basically you have this base all the way in here and you start turning this to go sit it in. Make sure once you put this in, tape this right under so that you could tell that if this hose is being pushed out. If you want the hose to be sit flush all the time so there's no leak issues. So literally it's gonna look something like that and pushed in like that. So just tape something around here underneath this bottom piece here so that you could tell if it's being pushed out or not. You just set this up on the bench like this and vice grip, and this aluminum pieces will actually partially prevent it from getting scratched up, but I just add extra cloth so that it just has less scratch. Keep it in mind, don't like over tighten this because at the end of the day this is the aluminum, so it'll actually get crushed in, so you don't want that. And also before you put this in, just kind of lube it up with whatever is gonna be used. Like for instance, this is gonna be oil cooler, so add the engine oil and just lube it around a little bit so you could actually have this thing going in there no problem. So you could just push this down and you'll feel the grab from the thread and basically turn it, just hand tight, whatever, you could get it in. And this tape wasn't on there before, but just put it on here so that, again, if this is being pushed out, you'll be able to tell. So all the lines are ran, hooked up down there, and the fitting is going to be somewhere here and over here. So it's just gonna be tomorrow once I have the oil cooler, it's gonna be installed this way. So just got the Mishimoto oil cooler in mail. I went with the just 10 row, which is more than enough in my opinion. Just everything else is just overkill. So basically it's gonna be somewhere here. I just gotta make the bracket. I just wanted to see if the lines are good enough before I proceed. And it's a perfect size, perfect length and everything. So it's gonna be in a little more like that, because I don't want to, like, if I smash anything, I don't want to mess up the oil cooler itself, and that'll be the end of the day. Yeah, I'll just test fit the bumper real quick just to make sure it's gonna clear everything. So hi, I'm gonna tackle this for the bracket. Is one of these race style bracket or whatever you want to call the little plate that already has holes. I hate drilling stuff, and it kind of lines up there and it looks pretty good, and it's really rock solid once it's placed over there. So I'll end up just chopping something here, weld it. I'll probably TIG weld over here, but for this part up to over here, I'm gonna actually just use the MIG weld and make my life easier. So there you go, kind of clean up and maybe paint it too. Alright, so the car's been running for like at least 5-10 minutes. So proper way to do it is I pulled the fuse for the injectors, fuel pump, so the car doesn't start right up. And I did a couple of cycles just to make sure we have oil circulation before the car starts up. You could starve the oil, like especially up of the motor, and keep it in mind the cooler will take up some of the oil and it will just stay there. So it was at high, and I did I just started up just to make sure. I shut it off right away, checked the oil level again. It was at low, so I just filled it up, topped it off, and now the car's been running. And in between I just constantly went in and out just to make sure there's no leak. It's gonna be it's gonna suck if you have leaks. I had no doubts on the cooler itself for the lines I made and everything, but only thing that was questionable was the sandwich plate from the eBay. But looks like there's no leak at all, everything's dry. So I'm just gonna go ahead, probably just make it to run for a bit, just finish up whatever is left underneath, pull the car up and drive up to the bench so I could just kind of weld the bracket that I made just earlier. So used some of the zip ties and made the line a little nicer. So now it's nice and straight, kind of even, and kind of splits out from here. But since this is kind of a budget build, there's a separator you could buy from Mishimoto. Those things are like $20–$25. Or you could do with a zip tie. Put a zip tie around and one in the middle, so you can actually separate them. I just wanted to show you guys what the oil cooler looks like from the front. Looks nice and even. Ain't going nowhere. Rock solid. Clean. So I probably ended up spending a little less than $150, and I still have some left out braided hoses, which I could probably make one more or two more oil cooler out of it. So hopefully that help you guys out with the budget build. I'll also let you guys know after maybe a month or two how that goes, and if I see any difference. Yeah.